You raising your hand, Sean?
It's a sign that people can't hear you on Zoom meeting.
Oh, no.
This couldn't be sound. It has to be from here, otherwise there'd be feedback. So I think,
I have a mic right here.
yes, but I think now,
Yes, now it's
Surely we hear you now.
sorry about
Oh, goodness. Oh, excellent, excellent. Thank you for pointing that out. It's even better, you know, well, whatever, anyhow, so particular ground rules, raise your hand if you want to talk. This would be anyhow during the conversation, after the committee asks their questions. If you want to speak to each other, go outside. I would say to anybody who's online, you're probably familiar with the little raise hand symbol, which you would use online, which is at the bottom of the screen. And if you want to talk to anybody, just please mute yourself. And I'm just trying to think of any of our other rules. I think that's about it. And if anything occurs, hi there, would you please sign in there and then have a seat? Okay, so we're ready for the first item on our agenda, which is a co-name request for the southwest corner of Mulberry and Grand Streets for the co-name of Vincent, Vinny, Peanuts, Cirelli, Sabatino, Corner. And who is here to speak for that? Okay, hi.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Thank you very much for entertaining this motion. Vinny Peanuts, known as Vinny Peanuts, was a staple in Little Italy for many, many years. He got his name because obviously he sold peanuts in his grandmother's business, which was in Little Italy for over 100 years. When they built the Italian American Museum, they lost the storefront. He continued operating the mall on the street. Everybody, whether they were born in Little Italy for 100 years or the new people, all knew Vinny Peanuts. He was that type of guy. He was involved in Feast of San Gennaro, the Sons of Italy, the Little Italy Merchants Association, and he's always been there fighting for the community. And we felt that it really does deserve have the street renamed after him. Well, like I said, the business was a 100-year-old business that he kept going. Unfortunately, now with his passing, you know, the business is gone, except during the feast. His nephew does run a booth at the feast. But he's been there, and I have his sister over here, Beatrice. Here she is. And some of the family members. He's been all over the news. Somehow or another, reporters got to know about him, and they've done articles. And what's the reporter's name? Yeah, Roger Clark. Roger Clark. Matter of fact, even to the funeral, Roger Clark came to the funeral. That's how much he got to like Vinny Peanuts. Again, to meet this guy, you would automatically love him. He was very genuine and very friendly to everybody. So, you know, we really would love you to support this application. Now, if anybody wants to say anything.
Yeah, a lot of folks here in favor, right, of the co-name, but any of you, you're welcome to say something if you want to, just raise your hand.
No, I was just gonna say, I was his, he was my uncle. Okay, and again, just like my uncle here was just explaining. Yeah, I mean, you know, he was known and loved by so many people. I mean, when he passed away, the outpouring response was just very overwhelming. People all over the world. I mean, you talk about whatever. Between his Instagram, he had 8,000 followers on Instagram, but it was a big thing, you know. And then when he passed away from COVID, unfortunately, it was just insane. And he was really like definitely part of that neighborhood. He was in that neighborhood all this time. That corner was basically his whole world. So that's.
Yeah, well, I mean, from the evidence you sent us, he certainly was beloved by the neighborhood and a presence in the neighborhood. And also very active from what you said, John, in improving the neighborhood. And I sent around material to the whole committee, right? So, anybody have any questions?
Would love it if somebody just told us here while everybody could hear all the different things that he did for the community, so we can fully appreciate it. Does anybody like what besides selling and being friendly to people, is there anything that,
Yeah, then maybe, John, do you want to read your biography or your letter?
Yeah.
Because that really said it.
It wasn't just that he sold,
Yeah.
merchandise in Little Italy. He was involved in everything that happened in Little Italy for the good. Like I said, new people that moved into the neighborhood grew to love him immediately. He had that personality, where he just drew people to him. And when we had some issues, we had issues with St. Gennaro, Vinny was right there with us, supporting the community. We had issues with Most Precious Blood Church, same thing. He was fighting for us to help save Most Precious Church. We still have been, but won't stay forever, but who knows? So yeah, it's been more than just the selling aspect.
do you mind me telling me what issues you had with the festival? San Gennaro Festival?
Excuse me?
What issues did you have with the San Gennaro
I
Festival?
think about 7 years ago, the businesses north of Kenmare Street wanted to stop the feast at Kenmare. And of course, it became a very big issue. Community Board was involved in it with us and the electeds. But he was right there. He used to go to businesses and talk to them about the feast. You know, explaining to them how it's good for them. So, yeah, they respected him.
Would you mind reading, just so it's in your own words, the paragraphs that tells a little bit more about what he did, so everybody can
That's
hear?
The letter you sent us, John.
That's the letter. I think it's the third paragraph.
Yes. Vinny was also a fighter for Little Italy. He attended many community board 2 meetings regarding the feast and the Little Italy Mall, which he was very involved in keeping the mall and making the mall really work. He was also one of the first people to step up to help a neighbor, which is, today's day and age is really good. In the late 70s, Vinny was fighting for the Little Italy Special District with us, which we had passed by the last item of the Board of Estimate was the Little Italy Special District. And Vinny was part of that. He also fought for the 21 Spring Street, the building of 21 Spring, which was the first new housing in Little Italy in 75 years. So he was instrumental in all these things.
Is that affordable housing?
It's affordable housing, yeah.
So it's the first
Yeah.
The
affordable
first
housing.
affordable housing in 75 years in Little Italy.
Right.
Unfortunately, we don't have too many of those anymore.
Thank you.
That's right. Now, anybody else? Because we see a lot of folks here.
Alex Simpson, I'm Vinny's brother.
Okay.
I can talk on the fundraising. He was a member of our lodge, the Sons of Italy, the Lieutenant Petrosino Lodge. And our functions are to raise money for charities. Vinny was on the committee with us, right? And he went around businesses. He stopped people in the street, right? People that came to the stand, right? Donate, the donation, stuff like that. He sat down with people and explained to them about charity that was doing work with, which is my gift of sight. Okay, for Alzheimer's, cancer, anemia, all these charities will be doing. Because of, largely because of him, throughout the course of the year, we donate, I would say, close to $45,000. With all his help, a lot of his help.
$45,000.
And Joseph Petrosino Lodge, and you can see all the things that the lodge does. Oh, he was a member, he was on the committee.
Now, what's the name of the lodge? I just wanted to.
Lieutenant Joseph Petrosino.
Oh, Petrosino, of course. Yeah,
Right. Patrick.
like Petrosino.
Yeah.
Wait, right.
Did you say leukemia and cancer? You donated to did you say you donated to leukemia and cancer? We're just taking notes. We can put it.
What were the illnesses that were?
Bully's anemia, autism, Alzheimer's.
Oh, well, a lot of things.
Gift of Sight is a program that we have with the Sons of Italy. What they do is they raise money and they get the gift of the the dogs that go around helping people that are blind, really a great charity.
So it's for sight, what is the name of it?
It's called the Gift of Sight.
Gift of sight.
And our lodge gives the most money throughout the state. We raise over 40,000 every year, which is more than any other lodge throughout New York State raises.
A lot because of Vinny, what he used to do.
Yeah.
No.
So now we have to fill
Okay.
the shoes.
All right, yeah, Lois.
Yeah, towards local charities in our community, what did, the lodge you all give to the local community charity organizations?
Well, Precious Blood Church was one of the major ones, but also the St. Gennaro Society, which gives to the senior program on River Street, and groups like that. And the Barry residents. We give.
What was that?
The Barry
Bowery resident, Bowery Mission.
We give them.
Because we know all these places.
Yeah, we know.
And so
Thank you.
it's great. Let me tell you,
Okay,
you know, we tried, it was amazing, we tried to volunteer there for Thanksgiving, but they had too many people. So we started just raising money and giving them money every year so they can buy their food.
great. Okay, well, I know a lot of people came in support, and so speak now or hold your peace. Anybody else want to say something?
Well, on a fun note, as far as Vinny. Also play Santa Claus at a Henry Street Settlement House.
Oh,
Oh, for the kids.
I know that.
Every year we had.
That's him?
Yeah.
Oh, he did a lunch? too?
Well, what we do at Petrosino is we started just bringing gifts to the Henry Street settlement.
Uh,
But then we realized we wanted to do a little more. So now we invite them to a hall where we meet. And we give them a whole afternoon of
Yeah.
lunch, Santa Claus and clowns.
Oh,
and Santa Claus, and the gift they all get from us.
Yeah.
great.
It was a very loud.
About these things, it's not to find out. Well, anyhow, anybody else have any questions or commentary? Okay, so.
And it was a
move
lot of
on
fun.
to Item 2, but you can.
It was a lot of fun.
What?
Eddie's a lot of fun.
Oh, he was a lot of fun. Yeah, that said that in the piece. Yeah.
Sweet Carolina.
Oh, yes.
Thanks to the whole community. Okay,
But I,
so, oh, of course.
I hesitate to bring this up, but I was reading the rules CB2 is created for naming. So I only asked this question because I just, when did he die? When did Vinny die?
Excuse me?
When did Vinny die? How long?
They
ago?
passed,
He died more than 3 years ago. John Johnson.
Okay.
yeah, originally, when he had first passed, I brought the information over to
Okay,
the board.
great.
And we told we had to wait,
Yes.
so. But yeah,
Okay, great. Thank
How
you.
old was he when he died?
how old was Vinny? He was 68.
Young?
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, overdid it.
Thank you.
Oh, well, anyhow, stick around because we will discuss this in the business session. And now we're up to Item 2, and I presume Sean Sweeney from the Soho Alliance is here to talk to us about the request for a traffic light at Houston and Wooster.
Ready?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Sean Sweeney. I'm the director of the Soho Alliance. And residents, particularly at 160 Worcester at the corner of Paulson, approached me a couple of months ago requesting a traffic light on Houston and Worcester. About a year ago, actually a couple of years ago, a car traveling west on Houston made a U-turn to go back east, a taxi going east.
Oh,
Yeah, it literally landed into the lobby of this apartment building. And if the doorman was at its door, he would have been killed. And I think, if I recall, about 20 years ago, a young woman, I think she probably was drinking, it was a Sunday morning about 2 a.m. was killed there as well. And I walk there a lot, and I have no problem with traffic. I cross against the red lights all the time. No, really. But that's a really dangerous, I look both ways when I cross that because cars don't realize people are going to be crossing there. They don't know that it's a thoroughfare between, to get from Soho to Greenwich Village. And there's a supermarket right across the street. They come up there. And I don't blame the drivers because they don't know. They just see that they're going from Green, they're going 1 block to Worcester and then West Broadway, and they don't know people are going to be crossing there. So they just kind of maintain their speed. They see the red light at West Broadway, so they just assume they'll stop at West Broadway. And it's really, it's someone's going to get killed. I think someone's going to get seriously injured there. I always look twice. And again, even if they're going slowly, there's no don't walk sign or walk sign. There's no sign there to alert a driver that it's a pedestrian cross. So that's what we're asking for, a red light and a walk and don't walk sign. And I think you got some emails from people who could not attend, about over a dozen, I believe.
Yep, and I will read that to the committee during business session.
And I mentioned it's the only intersection,
15 letters that we got,
15 it was?
Yep.
Okay.
and different feelings, all in favor of the light and all having very bad experiences.
And they're basically coming from the FDR to go to the Holland Tunnel, I think. It's 2 miles long, river to river. It's the only intersection in 2 miles that doesn't have traffic. So that alone should be a reason. Okay, thank you.
So it's the only,
It's the only, yeah,
that was the thing that hit me.
yeah, I know.
So do you have any idea where the next traffic light is? I'm just.
West Broadway,
West Broadway, the
going
other,
west, yeah.
West Broadway. You don't know the other way, huh?
For some reason, it's the westbound traffic that's more intimidating. I guess because they just want to get to the tunnel and
It's 2 miles. So this means that when they leave and get a green light,
when they leave green.
plunge ahead.
Or if, let's say the light's turning red, and I'm not even saying that they're running the red light,
Yeah.
but it's a long stretch, it's 2 blocks. Mercer to Green, I'm sorry, Green to Worcester, Worcester to West Broadway, so they see the light 2 blocks away, and that's where they aim at, that's their tunnel vision, and they don't look. That's their goal, to get to the red light at West Broadway,
So it's
and they just don't think people are gonna be
heading
crossing,
west.
going west.
Going, okay, so
It's not as bad going east to some.
Surely there's a light at Broadway. Not at Worcester.
okay, so
And it
it's
was-
Broadway, Mercer and Green.
Basically,
In case I want to put that,
Street
Mercer
from Broadway to 6th.
and Green have lights. And then
Mercer.
what's the next block after Broadway, Mercer, Green,
Then
and
it's
then
Worcester.
Worcester, West Broadway.
Worcester next, and then Worcester, no light. And then West Broad, and then West Broadway with a light. Okay, I just want to get that straight. So in other words, what's happening, I'm just trying, they're seeing that light,
At West
and
Broadway,
that's all they're aiming for.
that's exactly.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure which way it was going. That's it. So west, they're trying to get to West Broadway as fast as they can.
Not even that, no, it's just their goal to get to the red light. And they don't, their peripheral vision doesn't really.
Right.
That's,
They see the West Broadway light. And they're kind of aiming to get there. Yeah, right, okay. Okay, that's my question, and Lois has a question.
I'm just curious, is there walkway?
no crosswalk, nothing.
Oh, and that's another
There's
thing.
nothing there to alert
No.
people are gonna be crossing.
Cross, okay.
So, I mean, would you want to be asking for a crosswalk as well?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yes.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Stella,
I was just gonna add that even though there isn't a crosswalk there, there's an implied crosswalk.
Yeah.
Because the median is empty, right, where it is at every other intersection with Paulson, and they have the bollards in the exact same orientation, so, but no light. No light and no crosswalk and no don't cross sign.
and no don't cross it, no signage, yeah, so all that is needed. Okay, Anyone else on the committee? Want to ask any questions? We always do the committee first. Yes, so, Lois,
Are there any benches there? No benches, like,
well, that would be.
I don't think there is. Bench.
oh, no, there are benches on the median. On the median.
Not at Wooster.
No, I don't think you're in.
Nothing.
You're right, not at Wooster.
There's room for bench.
Good question.
Should we ask for benches in the meeting?
Yeah,
Why not?
And then my next question, is, did anyone ever time the lighting of the crossing, how long it takes to cross? over?
I remember 20 years ago,
So
we wanted longer.
Yeah, well, how many seconds do you get?
Yeah,
All
well,
the way, all the way, all the way.
That would be
20 years ago, I didn't want.
I remember this.
change it would be.
I don't.
It was a long
Timing of
time.
the light.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of giving pedestrians the.
With
time.
To be in sync with all the other stuff.
and
There's a car on Houston and Broadway that has lights. It got stuck in the bollard,
Oh,
uh-huh.
no. I remember that.
the undercarriage.
Oh, it's kind of like the Wild West there. isn't it?
And it's- yeah.
I remember we had that discussion with construction as well.
Okay, so if no one else is on the committee that wants to say anything, I know. you're waiting. Really? Anybody else? Another? What's here?
The other homeowner scheduled to speak, takes a lot more.
Yeah, for the disabled.
There's no wheelchair access to that.
Absolutely.
Have a real problem, I would say.
It
I
is.
think they better go to another intersection.
And if you have a
Okay.
supermarket wagon from the supermarket and you're crossing, it takes a long time.
Yeah, but with supermarket with wagon. Okay, so now I am going to read. These letters, they're really. No, not really. I'm only gonna read a little piece of it.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
This is good, yeah.
My name is David. I'm the superintendent of 160 Wooster.
Thank you.
I've been there for about a year now, and I've noticed immediately that this is kind of wild, it's dangerous, always scary crossing, and I'm young and I can move quick and I'm agile, and I know it's, every month goes by, we're more and more distracted by our phone. It's only gonna get more dangerous. So this would be
Okay.
great. I think it's really necessary.
Okay, all right, now let me get those letters and I'm going to read you some excerpts. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because we got 15 letters. And well, David just spoke and I think we have something from you here too, that you always feel a bit uncomfortable crossing there. Something that never seems to happen at other crossings in Manhattan. Even when the lights are red on Green and West Broadway, cars still speed at Worcester. So that's one thing. And you spoke about the tragedy, which I believe that Sean mentioned too. It's the car traveling east-west from Paulson, U-turn at the Worcester intersection to go to the south side of Houston. And as it made the turn, the speeding yellow cab traveling was, that was what Sean said, so I'm not gonna say any more about that one. Here's one from somebody named Patsy Ang, who says, for many longtime residents, many of whom are aging in place, a NORC. For those of you who don't know what a NORC is, it's a naturally occurring retirement community. You can figure what that is. So that, anyhow, the lights are essential. Okay, this one is from Marilyn Gingold. And she just says that demand a traffic light before someone's killed. And here's one from Jamie Morales. He says, I live on Worcester and Houston, even though I'm nimble of feet, I always feel nervous crossing that intersection. Most times drivers just drive on without letting pedestrians cross the intersection. Other times there is hesitancy between both the pedestrian and the driver. A touch and go situation could be avoided with a traffic. Okay. And let's see, this is Diana Kurtz, who says it's actually gotten worse. She said it was bad before, but it wasn't like this. It's just gotten worse in recent years because there's more traffic than ever on Houston. And she says she often has to go to West Broadway to cross or Green because she can't even dare cross there. She says, now in my 80s and I can't walk as quickly as I used to. So crossing Houston is more perilous than ever.
So are people asking for longer traffic red lights?
They're asking for,
That's the one.
they're asking, but we can ask, yes. And Sean agrees that we should be asking for a long crossing.
Yeah, but if people are saying in their letters that people are aging in place, they take longer, should we be requesting that, not just there, but between, you know, Broadway and 6th or 7th Avenue, that they make the red lights a little bit longer? See what I'm saying?
The timing, we would ask for the timing to favor pedestrians in the cycle.
Okay, that's great.
It's 22 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
Oh, okay.
Well, you don't know what is there because they haven't decided yet.
I know what House in Green, right cross, it's 22 seconds.
That was the.
Well, I mean, but we shouldn't ask for an exact amount because it depends on what's going on the other crossing. And that's how they determine it. So we would say to favor pedestrians and give them enough time to cross.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah.
How's that? Okay. Okay. Jacqueline Gaddy, in the 16 years I have lived nearby, I've witnessed multiple pedestrians narrowly avoiding being hit crossing Houston at this intersection. Drivers commonly accelerate as they drive in this section, knowing there's nothing to slow them down. The pedestrians find it hard to estimate how much time they have to cross. So there you go about the time to crossing. Installation of a traffic light would make the street much safer and more for pedestrians. Okay, Sandra Hathadrew says, I use a cane and obviously must walk slowly, but even so, drivers creep up on me when swerving around corners, expecting me to pick up the speed.
They do.
You know that experience. Okay, and Joan Beisel, with so many tourists and NYU students, plus me, there needs to slow traffic down. We need a lot. Robert Cohn, I cross Houston every day at the risk of my life. Please install traffic. That sounds really terrible. Jerry Smith Miller, an uncontrolled intersection, such as the one at the top of Worcester and Houston, represents a clear and present danger to our citizens, visitors, and tourists, and of course, the drivers of such vehicles who are unfamiliar with the territory, he says, okay? Joyce Haslop, we've lived on that corner since 1974. It's always been treacherous. I used to watch my son crossing Houston on the way to school from my studio window, always feeling anxious. It's time to simply give the community the protection we deserve. Oh, we have one more, no, we got two more. Well, I'll read their names. I'm not gonna, you've got the gist, everybody. Then there's an Elliot Silver, who also talked about the dangerousness. And Levy, who says we need clear walk and don't walk signs. And that's what you were saying, Sean, but if you need clear walk and don't walk signs. And I will circle that one. Okay, need to be added as soon as possible. And obviously as soon as possible. Kat Sosnick, have traffic light critical, that intersection. So anyhow, I don't think we've had anything against the traffic light, but did want to let you know what people say. Yes.
You don't want a sign, you want lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
walk and don't walk.
That's not a sign, it's not a traffic.
Don't walk, but that would go,
That's
yeah,
just the traffic.
yeah,
Sign would be a stop or don't walk, you want
You're just
lights.
like every.
Just like West Broadway, you want it.
And with walk, don't walk clearly delineated, right?
Yeah.
And blank.
Caution marks.
But there's people going west that they wanna make that U-turn before the Broadway light turns green, so they accelerate.
Sure.
That's one of the biggest things. They wanna beat those other cars before they start going, light turns green, so they just go quick.
Make U-turn before okay. Anybody else
One
have comments?
here, oh, sorry. We had two committee members first.
Would
Okay,
it be out of line to ask for, the sound of crossing for people that have, that are blind?
yeah, there's a name for it.
I had it and it's over there and I just can't think of it. And I know you press it.
Right.
I forgot the technical name and I'm sorry.
I don't know the technical something, but it's.
Jackie had.
Just for the sounds.
Should I look it up or something?
Sure.
Accessible pedestrian APS.
Yes. Of course, you have to find where that button is.
Accessible.
If you're blind, you can't find the button.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it doesn't have the name of it on the signal itself.
Yeah, I love it. Come on.
All right, so anybody have anything to say?
Jackie Lazaro, hand up.
Oh,
Tell us, Rick.
you're okay, Jackie, you're from the OT.
Hi, yeah, I was, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. I was just gonna say, yeah, the signal is called an accessible pedestrian signal,
Thank you.
APS.
Accessible pedestrian signal,
APS.
APS,
APS, yes.
which stands for accessible, thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks for coming, Jackie. Okay, anybody on the committee have any other thing to say? Oh, Stella, yeah.
Kind of two. We also want us to include in the pilot that there be a delayed turn. I know that like Broadway and Houston and delayed turn. I don't know if Green has it, but then cars that are turning wouldn't be, they wouldn't. have-
You turn it.
Or just turning onto Wooster, they wouldn't have to wait for gaps in cars and not wait for gaps. You know what I mean? So like oftentimes, I just saw it the other day, they turn onto Wooster and they're just looking at the cars going east.
Right.
And then as soon as there's a gap and the cars going east, they go forward, but there might be people crossing.
Would that require cutting into the island of the mall would have a dedicated lane?
Well, how does the committee feel about that one?
The space.
Because
It's
it's
not
not a
enough.
business session
I
with.
don't think there's enough space. You'd have to read it.
Yeah,
Time.
I think that might be a whole other request.
Because it doesn't go anywhere except.
All right, so anyone else?
Good idea. I had one other question.
Okay, well, okay.
This might be a totally another
Business session, you should have asked before, okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it can be a question for the committee.
Okay,
Should we also be considering putting a pedestrian light on Wooster Street? Because right now there isn't.
well, when's that happen?
That's what we talked about, that it's part of the regular light.
A four-way traffic
Yeah.
light, so should we say four-way? Sure. Is necessary, okay. Four-way traffic light.
But there's no traffic. Right.
Really three-way.
Three-way traffic light at intersection. So that would cover it, so. Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, there is Jeffrey Rollins, right? Speak, he has a question. Jeffrey, you should be live.
Good, that's nice. Thank you all. I have a memory when they were planning Houston Street of a discussion about a crosswalk at Worcester coming up. And my memory is that it was suggested at the time that because of the turning lane on the westbound traffic for Houston Street that turns onto West Broadway, to accommodate more cars during the period of the light, as it leads to the Holland Tunnel, it has a lot of traffic. They needed the extra distance even though the lane itself, the turning lane is fairly short, there would be cars backed up, and they still are, as you can see on any Thursday or Friday night. There are cars that are backed up to the point of Wooster Street. And so holding them at that light when the turning light is green for them to go is why they didn't put, as I recall, a crosswalk and a light at that intersection. My experience goes back crossing Houston Street for 54 years. And I have actually found that since the lighting the way it is, when you're standing on the corner of West Broadway and Houston Street, and the light is green, you can actually judge from the distance of how far away the cars are that it gives you more time to cross. Now, that means you have the extra 2 blocks. If you put one at Wooster Street, that'll change. I don't think that's a significant feature. I do think, however, the traffic flow is the motivation of why the Department of Transportation didn't suggest a crosswalk there in the first place. You may go back and refer to the notes of the original planning for the Houston Street. Or you may get an opinion from DOT of why that is an important feature in traffic flow. I am very supportive of the idea of longer times for crosswalks. Thank you. That's my comment.
Thanks, Jeffrey. Yeah, I remember that. Actually, the community was not very happy with the plan that DOT did at the time. The other thing being that there's no reason not to suggest it. And if DOT studies it and finds that it's absolutely, I'm talking about the crosswalk, get nervous. Then they'll tell us. So
Last word.
yeah, that's for every extra. So, okay, let me just, anybody else want to say anything?
I just want to point out in the last 50+ years, there are a gazillion more pedestrians in Soho. So I think that's the biggest change. A lot more people.
Soho. Yeah, in past, how many years should we say?
50, whatever those.
Past 50. Okay, that's,
Congestion pricing, we also changed that.
anybody else?
Okay, say congestion pricing will also change traffic too. Traffic patterns will change with
Oh,
congestion
sure.
pricing, right? So it should be pedestrian friendly.
And also the whole,
Less part of making that.
transportation and traffic in New York City has changed. I mean, that time I remember we asked for a bike lane in Houston when they were doing that plan, and they said absolutely not. Yes, they might put it in there. Who knows? So, whatever, okay, basically, traffic light, right, a 3-way, so that it also does some control on Worcester. Crosswalk.
Curb cuts for wheelchair,
Oh, curb
because there
cuts
is no
for
curb
wheelchairs,
cuts.
definitely.
A bench too, maybe on the other side.
Pedestrian ramps, they call it, yeah, pedestrian ramps. Chairs.
ADA compliant.
ADA accessibility. I guess that's it, and you know what?
Another little thing,
Should
should it be red?
Which was actually first, well, you ended up with the second item on the agenda, yes, Laura?
Red, yellow, and green, or just red and green?
Sean, do you,
On that?
do you have any preference on that?
I would have.
Of course, we have the traffic light on this. I don't think we have to specify.
Okay.
The DOT will.
They'll decide.
Okay, put it in. Yeah,
Session now?
yeah, I guess we are.
One other point I think to make, which really makes the whole thing seem like a no-brainer, is that when there is this pattern where every other street has a light, except this one street, and the traffic cadence
Right.
that says that at every corner there is a light and there's a stoplight. And in this instance where we're absent that situation, I think the very structure of that inherently disadvantages pedestrians.
right, the
I think,
structure.
and I think
Yeah,
that's
very
an important
There's a
point to make.
precedent.
Yeah, because why should they have to be?
Because we don't want to be advocating for any situation that inherently disadvantages pedestrians.
Exactly. Okay. All right, I think.
What were you saying?
Yeah,
I'm
Lois.
saying there's a precedent for it. We got traffic stops at Washington because people would do the same thing. They'd speed through to get to lights. And then when we put traffic lights, it's actually stop. And for the pedestrian crossings, like for instance, at Paulson Street, where there was 4th Street School, it slowed down traffic and made it much safer for pedestrians to cross at every intersection.
Yeah, there's a problem with Bank Street, that's the same kind of problem, and there's never done anything about it. Yeah,
Traffic lights change in timing night and day. So, at night, the green light for passing for pedestrians is not as readily available. And during the day, when they think that people cross the street, the timing is very different. But now with the population has grown, we have to make sure that the timing at night is good.
Can I ask a question? I mean, is there an issue with the timing of the lights at West Broadway?
No.
So we probably should keep it similar.
I
You
think,
guys feel as though it's the right time.
I think we're probably asking for,
Thanks.
okay, so. Anybody who's in favor?
Yes.
Everybody, okay, so that's unanimous, okay. All right, now, somehow, that's my fault, I twisted it around and I got to the traffic light, which is number 2, so I'll get to number 1 now, which is the code name. And I'll start by simply saying that it completely meets our guidelines, which stress, I hope all of you had a chance to look at the guideline, which stress the honoring of neighborhood people who do things for their neighborhood. Other communities have street code names for worldwide and citywide celebrities. But they're honored in many other places and in many other ways. And if we had, and in the Village, are you kidding? And Soho and NoHo and all our other communities, we have so many celebrities here, we'd have to put a co-name on every pole or 2, and we try to avoid clutter. But anyhow, okay, that's my 2 cents. It completely meets our guidelines.
I'm just curious,
So,
what will it be called? A way? Or, like, is there a suggestion of,
yeah, it was on,
what it should be
on,
called?
yeah, it was on the application. Let's see now, Vincent, Vinny Peanuts, Cirelli, Sabatino, and I thought you had put it down here too. Oh, the proposed location, name. Corner, I think you said, right? Okay. Corner. Okay,
That's good. I like that.
right. Anybody else have anything?
No, I would just like to say, just in acknowledgement of all of the members of the community who are here and have shared such rich remembrances, that, it's a really lovely thing to have the opportunity to support and memorialize a person who was such a rich and perhaps somewhat unsung member of the community. So thank you for coming here tonight.
Okay. So, let me go the other way. Anybody against? Okay, that's it. So we are done, and I think most of you do know, but if you don't, this will be, the 2 resolutions will be presented full board on the 21st of September. The meeting starts at 6:30.
And
You have to sign up if you want to speak before 5 o'clock. So right now you can go on the website. There will be instructions if you want for either, by the way, of your requests. There will be instructions on how to sign up to speak at the meeting. Just make sure you do it in plenty of time.
And it's not as casual as this, so if everybody wants to say something, which is fine, each of you have to sign up. Right, so here you can jump in, but you should sign up, you should sign up if you want to, if you want to speak.
And you don't have to come in person.
Yeah, it's fine.
I should tell you that you don't have to come in person. You can do this all online. It was wonderful that you all came, but I'm just telling you for your comfort. You're allowed to do that online. The 21st, yeah, September 21st.
Yeah.
I don't even know yet where the venue is. Where is it? Where the meeting is going to be held. But whatever the case,
We can't do a Zoom.
oh, okay. Well, if you do want to send somebody, you can do it right on
I took over, my son and I took over.
I haven't seen anything.
Sally. So.
I'll try to get it.
Kind of way the.
Oh, it's a,
Yeah.
New York City Fire.
A lot of people stuff that they recognize. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's 9/7/23. Okay, anybody have anything else they'd like to add or ask or?
I have a different topic, but
Oh, okay,
very short.
okay. So, I mean,
Thank you very
we
much.
don't have, thank you, and we really appreciate you all coming.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank
Stop
you.
by the booth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mulberry.
And we'll pay Brandon.
No. Mulberry.
Right on,
Mulberry
right.
and Grant.
Right on,
Okay.
Lansky.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you.
See you all.
Well, thank you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Tommy. Okay, so Jesse, you said you had something. You have two things to tell you. One, and Lois is gonna follow up.
Yes, I'm
And possibly.
the licensing for bikes.
Yeah, but
That we were talking about.
Brad Holman Siegel, you know, our
Yes.
state senator, has some legislation on the book that requires licensing for commercial bikes. So Lois is gonna find out more about it, we'll have his office come.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the thought of supporting it.
Mhm.
So that's one thing. And the other is to do with, and I think I sent you both these things anyhow, but the other was to do with the delivery. I just forgot what they call them, the
Cargo bike.
delivery bikes, cargo,
Cargo.
bikes. Thank you.
With the new big,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and I think in many ways they're really great, but I got a note from the traffic chair of Community Board 4 who pointed something out, which really is a concern, which is that the proposed law seems to allow for them to park on the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk, like,
Yeah,
on, really?
yeah, right. So unfortunately, the deadline is the 15th to get in our comments. So I'll check. Do you know anything about how we can go around that, Janine?
Do we have any standing resolutions applying to it? But do we support anything have we ever supported bikes on sidewalks? Other than for
There's,
children?
where else do bikes go?
Never, no, but I don't think we have
They
any.
don't go on sidewalks.
No, but if they stop their bike. And giving a delivery, where does the bike go? It's no room to park it in the middle of the street.
And
Where's it gonna-
once they
Where are they gonna go?
require curbside,
So Ninth Avenue is a big problem. A friend of mine lives at 52nd and 9th Avenue, and they all park there because it's allowed, but it's like, where else are they gonna congregate? Is it a space issue?
yeah, except that we're trying to clear the side.
So we need to create depots in order to do that, so that doesn't go on sidewalks. You gotta clear out parking spots, you gotta put it there.
Exactly, that's the point.
but I mean,
But the point being that if we ask for it, there's a deadline. I mean, I just got this thing.
Yeah, I know.
you know, the other thing I
Yeah,
would
didn't
say,
really pay
is somebody
attention.
concerned with pedestrian safety. I hear what you're saying, Dan. That's always the pedestrians who have to take a step aside because there's no parking. Maybe they should be doing the depots before they approve the licenses. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, I agree with that.
Because this is what,
Yeah, so I mean, it would be good if we could get our opinion in, but the problem is, it's to the 13th. But maybe there's a way we can get around it. Even the full board meeting would be too late to approve it. Yeah, and the executive.
And also locking up those wagons. Do they have to be, like bikes get locked, you know, we have our U's and our Wigglies. So where do they, if they're going on the sidewalk, how do they lock their?
They have some kind of infrastructure.
I'm sure they do. They might have something that's just internal to the cargo bike, you know.
But you
like
can't
it's like a
carry it
regular
off.
bike.
Everybody think about it. And I don't know if you know of any way we can slip in.
So this is gonna be
Some
voted on by the
level
city
commentary.
council? Can we, and I would help you with this, can we reach out to our city council, make them aware of this in case they're not? And ask them to raise this issue?
Yeah,
They'll
we
be-
could,
they'll-
except
they'll have
that
to
we're
be debated,
individuals and we're not a community board. We have to have some kind of vote, right, Jenny? We have to have a vote.
Yeah,
Well, it can't be by the community board, but
as a transportation expert in CB2. Reaching out to.
Okay, well, think
about
about
that.
it.
I would talk to that, Susan. Okay,
We could do what?
anyone can do. But it should be coordinated.
yes. Now we can present ourselves as transportation experts. I would say that way.
Well, you know,
Call our
committee,
city council member and say, we're aware of this, we don't have time to do a resolution. But, you know, can you bring this up during debate, questioning, or find out?
well, we'd have to write a letter of some sort.
And just make it
Yeah.
clear that due to the timing on this, there is no pathway for us to get it
Right.
there in via the usual methods, therefore, you know, we would seek their
Just ask
intervention.
questions.
Yeah, just ask questions, just ask questions.
And don't have 20 questions. Have
Yeah. Right, yeah, it can be one.
Yeah.
It can, are you, is this in it, and if it is, have you thought about this
Of
alternative?
an alternate,
Yeah.
taking away parking.
Oh.
And it,
Right,
so is this also when we're at full board, when the rep or the council person comes to the mic, we ask those questions, or this is just a prep?
too late.
Totally. So
Yeah.
we ask, what was their consideration? What did they consider?
Oh, but
Still
we,
too late.
too
Still
late.
today.
I'd still like to hear what they have to say.
Oh, if you want to.
Oh, you can always ask them.
Okay, so you're suggesting that we do it as a committee?
I'm not, I would talk to Susan, because she would probably
Yeah,
sign it.
I'll
And
ask
just
her.
say, these are our questions. We don't have a formal
So
position.
do it in the way of.
but We have questions. And then you can follow it up with a phone call, because just an email goes into a black hole.
Because there is,
Writing on-
there is, you know, there's an email. You can see.
It's gonna leave legal writing on site.
No, I agree with you.
But
Yeah.
that just gets documented. Doesn't get-
Well, it would be if you had a resolution.
Yeah, but we
Okay.
don't.
But we don't.
So don't.
So who would this go to?
Okay,
Who could this go to then?
They would go
Doesn't
to Botcher, Marte, and.
Oh,
Mulberry.
okay, and ask them to ask these questions.
yeah,
Okay, that
And
makes sense.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood.
You'd help
That
with that, I
makes
would help you
sense.
with that. Okay.
I don't need your help.
I want to know what's the latest on West Third Street. There's still 2 rows of parked cars. I wish I could.
Guess we need to bring them in again.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so now you.
So nothing has changed. These are, I'm sorry, I guess I could not log in to show my screen. But these are pictures I took on the way here of the new we had a walkthrough with DOT sometime earlier this year about, there's a bike, there's a supposedly open space.
Oh, you're talking about West Third?
West Third Street. This is
Yeah.
right here on these blocks. You can walk by it. So there's a really great bike lane. There's parked cars in the middle of the street, and they added a bike rack on either end, but there's basically 2 rows of cars. And as you know, these are huge buildings that lots of people live in. This is essentially through the NYU campus. So you have these areas, actually, there's no crosswalk, but people cross here all the time. If you're a car that's turning left into here or coming out, you can't see because there's cars blocking your sight line. It's very unsafe. Like when I bike through here, I'm nervous. When I walk through here, I'm nervous.
and I
They
walk through
haven't
it.
fixed it.
They've done nothing.
Well,
And
you
these
know
are-
what they did? This is really weird. NYU agreed to maintain the plantings that they're supposed to put with the cars in it. Except DOT never coordinated with them. They recently sent them the plantings, but there's no plan as to where to put plantings.
Is the DOT person still?
What?
Jackie's still here, yeah.
Yeah, Jackie? Jackie, are you here?
Hey, so I'm no longer the lead on this project, so I'm not too sure what the latest is. From what I last recall, Kate was working with NYU on the agreement for the planters. I believe that was earlier in the summer.
Because the last I heard from Arlene Peralta at NYU, she said they received a parcel of planters from DOT, but nothing else and no instruction. So maybe if you can go back, I guess I can talk to Kate too.
Yeah, I can definitely ask Kate to ask her to update you guys on what the latest is and check in and see what next steps are.
Okay. All right. Obviously, we need next steps. I mean, because it's funny, they do have the planters and NYU is willing. So we're moving along, but I think that they never did anything about the floating parking toward the west, which was a problem also with the loading dock for NYU.
Oh, I remember.
Whatever, maybe we should have a meeting about it again and just have DOT come and talk us through with it.
Yeah, I can definitely bring that up with Kate. Like I said, I'm not really sure what the latest is with that, so I'm happy to speak to her and ask her to bring everyone up to speed.
Okay.
The latest is they've basically added a bike rack. And there's still.
But that's been a long time.
No, there's 2 rows of parked cars. There's 4 sight lines and somebody's gonna get hit. I crossed
Oh,
over there
it's
in the
out of
crosswalk and it
control.
makes me nervous.
Oh, sure.
On the crosswalk with the light, looking everywhere.
Yeah, because the bicyclists are coming. I've
Lights
noticed.
are coming.
I remember this discussion. I remember we had this discussion.
Oh, golly, we had it a couple of times.
All the time and nothing, no
And then
progress.
they had a plan and then they were going.
No progress.
They did it. Right? They implemented, except they didn't implement because they didn't take in the necessary things.
Right.
we asked for.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe.
So much to do.
Have them come again. I can talk to, I actually had asked
One of the.
Marte's office, I'm meeting with Marte's office, actually, Connor, just to talk about that.
Yeah.
After the 19th.
Okay, so not before the 3rd. Okay,
This has nothing to do with.
I know, but I was just
Good.
just gonna say, seeing you before that, bring up the. But you're not. It's okay.
Oh, no, that's the other thing is a broader issue. Definitely a broader issue, and we can fill them.
Hopefully,
I think we're done. Hey, you want to talk about anything else?
I am.
It's probably one of the easiest 2 items on it I have ever experienced. Because they were shoo-ins. Really lovely.
Hi, Anthony. I like your shirt.
All right.
But Snoopy's your guy, right? You haven't had Snoopy out.
Thank you, everybody.
Bundle of joy, right?
Thank you for coming.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Good night.
This is informal.